Hello, folks. It is July 16. It's Sunday. It's about 2 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. In this video, we're going to look at silver and gold and the mining stocks. And got three main drivers and a fourth potential driver. Basically, the precious metals have reached the end of a 3-month, or what I think is the end of a 3-month downtrend, and they've coincidentally reached the oversold level, at least in the daily time frame. We'll see in the weekly and monthly where they're at. And of course, the US dollar has been tanking this last week or so. That's probably the primary driver of the rally in the metals. And then, of course, the seasonality of the metals, typically June, July are weak, and then we get a bottom in there somewhere and then head off to the races in the fall. And if you've never looked into seasonality, there's a couple of drivers there. We've got the farmers in India and other parts of Asia that have a historic aversion to banks. And so when they harvest their crops, they don't put the money in the bank, they go buy silver and gold. And so that's one of the fall drivers for the metals. And then, of course, we have wedding season in India and perhaps other Asian countries as well. And the traditional gift is gold, and so those are two big drivers of gold in the fall, and we'll look at a chart of the seasonals. I think it's right here. So this is the seasonality of gold in particular, and so we can see here there's June and July. Typically we get a bottom in there, and then it's off to the races into late September, early October, and then pushing on into the start of the new year. So anyway, let's back up. And then the fourth potential driver is we've got this BRICS summit coming. It's August 22nd. And there's a lot of chatter on the internet right now about the BRICS organization announcing a gold-backed currency at this upcoming summit, and that may well happen. It may not happen. There's a lot of talk out on the internet making it sound like it's a done deal. I've done research. I have not been able to find anything in print that definitively says that that's on the agenda for the summit, much less that they're actually going to announce a gold-backed currency. So, but there's enough to unpack here that I'm going to address that in a separate video. But just so you're aware, that's a potential driver of gold right now. Got two charts here. This is gold in the Japanese yen, and then we'll look at gold in the Turkish lira. And in my mind, this is what happens to gold when a fiat currency is debased, basically beyond recognition. And the Japanese yen, they've been debasing it for 30 years at least, significantly. And we can see what gold has done in response. And then here's gold in the Turkish lira, same thing. Here's the lira, the currency relative to the US dollar. Steady downtrend for just years, and then a dramatic drop off in the last couple of months, which has led gold priced in the lira to do this. This channel is interesting if you're into technical analysis. And so the way I arrived at this channel was to draw a trend line along these lower peaks, just a straight trend line, and then duplicate that line and move it up to the level of the peaks, the highs. And then we see here that price appears to be finding resistance at that level. Just a coincidence? I don't know. perhaps, and this is what's most likely, I'm not the only person that knows this technique. And so when traders are looking at, okay, where do I want to take profit in the lira, they're looking at a chart that looks something like this, and they're taking profit up here. And so anyway, to some extent, technical analysis is self-fulfilling prophecy, because all of us technical analysts are looking at the same lines on our charts. But anyway, let's keep rolling here. So this is gold in the monthly time frame. Basically, we've got a triple top, and then we're pulling back from that level. But not what I would point out is that we're not getting a strong pullback, just kind of a pullback and a sideways waffle. Notice that MACD remains in bull mode, suggesting that the primary trend remains to the upside. MACD on a buy signal. Energy is elevated based on stochastics, and so this is a positive picture for gold in this time frame. I still believe that we're on track for $2,500 or so in late 2024. That's next year. So what's that, 14 months from now, something like that, we'll be looking at 2,500 or better. Now in reality, I expect that before we get to late 2024, we are going to get a gold-backed currency. Somebody is going to announce the first gold-backed currency. It could be China, it could be Russia, it could be the BRICS. We'll find out. But I expect that to happen before late 2024. And I also expect that when that happens, when we get the first official announcement of a gold-backed currency, that gold will quickly pop up through these prior highs, at least up to 2,500 and potentially even higher than that. So, but we just have to be patient, wait and see. In the weekly time frame, here's gold. It's pulled back. This is what I was referring to in the intro. We've had this, is that 3 months? I'm not going to count, but approximately a 3-month downtrend. And gold has reached the lower median line of this shift pitchfork, appears to have found support there and bounced. And we can see, if we zoom in on these two candlesticks and the third one as well, these lower wicks suggest that they suggest bottoming action, and that's a doji candle that suggests bottoming, another doji. And now we get this big bullish candle this past week. That's the week that just closed. Notice as well, what is that? 1.5%. So gold is up, 1.5% on last week, almost $30 gain last week. Let's go back to this view. Again, MACD in bull mode, currently on a sell signal. And if we zoom in on the histogram there, hinting at a bottom, we've gone from the dark red to the light red, suggesting that momentum is turning back up to the upside, and then energy heading up out of that depressed level. So that's gold in the weekly. Here in the daily time frame, we got a nice pop up, and then price ran into the 50-day moving average, and just, it's doing a sideways consolidation there. But same thing I pointed out in the monthly chart, this is not a pullback, it's just a consolidation at a high level. That basically it's gold, it gained, $24, gained $24. That was Wednesday of last week, and that's a big move in gold. And now it's doing a sideways consolidation, basically resting at that level. Notice in this 3-month downtrend that gold went from a overbought level based in MACD down to an oversold level in MACD, and is now turning back up, currently on a buy signal. And I've pointed this out numerous times. MACD is not a bounded indicator, but the prior highs and lows tend to act as range boundaries. And we're clearly seeing that here. This was the prior high, and when gold reached that level, it headed lower. This was the prior low back here, and when gold reached that level, it looks like it's heading back higher. And so anyway, MACD is a valuable indicator, and that's why I pay attention to it. Energy very elevated based on stochastics. So gold looking good in the daily time frame. We certainly want to see it push up through the 50-day moving average. Of course, we've got more resistance overhead, upper median line of this Andrews pitchfork. We've got this green and pink lines here. These are, horizontal support resistance levels from this peak, and some action in here. So anyway, we've got some overhead resistance to work through. Let's keep rolling. This is silver in the monthly time frame. Sideways consolidation, that's how I described that for the last, 6 months or so. MACD in bull mode on a buy signal, coming off an oversold level. So, reached the oversold level in MACD and now appears to be turning up. Energy very elevated. So, silver in the monthly time frame looking pretty good. Next big resistance is at, 28.50 or so, this red line, 28.50. Weekly time frame, big move last week. That's a $1.87 gain last week, 8.1%. That's a big move in silver, obviously. MACD in bull mode, energy elevated. So nice action in silver. And, obviously we'd like to see similar action in gold. Notice that silver has pushed through the 10-week moving average, which is comparable to the 50-day moving average in the daily time frame. And so here we've got silver in the daily, big moves last week. That was Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we got this kind of a candle. Big volume. The buying volume is nice to see. We always want to see volume increase when price is rising, and we got that in spades last week. MACD in bull mode on a buy signal. Not quite in bull mode. So if we look, that the lower indicator line is not quite up into bull mode yet, but very close. But on a buy signal, energy very elevated. So nice action in silver. We don't have positive alignment in moving averages. We've got the 20-day in between the 50 and the 200. So positive alignment of the moving averages, the 20 would be above the 50. That's the 6-day and 60-day moving averages. Those are a pretty good signal if you're trading on a shorter time frame. I don't typically look at those or share those in the charts, just happen to have them on here. So let's move. This is the mining stocks, or my proxy for the mining stocks. GDXJ, of course, is the junior miners. As we've pointed out in the past, this is not a good proxy for the entire mining stock sector. We're talking about 2,000 stocks in the sector, large cap, medium cap, micro cap, all kinds of different mining stocks. And I only look at the one proxy when I do these videos. So, but anyway, with all that said, the mining stocks on an uptrend have broken through the top of this downward sloping channel. We got MACD on buy signal, energy is elevated. This blue dashed line, that's just a simple trend line, and price is kind of flirting with that level, penetrated to the downside, pushed back up above, kind of just right in the middle currently. Let's drop down to the weekly time frame. Big move last week. That's 9.4% to the upside last week. Pushed up above pushed up and closed above both the 10-week moving average and this horizontal support resistance zone, and pushed back up into the lower channel of this modified shift pitchfork. Let's look here at shift. The shift pitchfork actually looks better here, as you can clearly see. So this 3-month downtrend brought silver in the weekly time frame down to the lower median line of this shift pitchfork. We appear to have found support there, and now we're getting a solid bounce. MACD in bull mode, still on a sell signal, but histograms hinting at an upturn. A little bit of a bump in volume. Energy coming up off a low level. So nice action in the mining stocks in the weekly time frame. Here in the daily mining stocks, let's see, that was Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So we got a nice move on Monday, a little bit of a toppy candle on Wednesday, and then a big gap Thursday, because got a big move in silver on Wednesday and Thursday, and the mining stocks reacted to that move with a big gap. Ran into resistance from these prior highs, and that's where we're at currently, is basically a sideways consolidation at the level of those prior highs. MACD currently on a buy signal, energy very elevated. So nice action overall in the mining stocks. Obviously, if we look at individual mining stocks, some of them are outperforming, some of them are underperforming. You got 2,000 to choose from, so which one do you want to look at? Here's the US dollar. Big down move so far this month, has pushed below these, we might draw a potential support in there somewhere, maybe a little bit lower. And of course, it's a zone, not a straight line. But price has clearly penetrated below that level. MACD on a sell signal, still in bull mode. So, based on MACD, the dollar is still in an uptrend, but clearly on a sell signal, energy very low. Here in the weekly time frame, again, penetration of this support level, a little bit clearer here in the weekly time frame, that this was a horizontal, there was support, support kind of failed there, but then we got a bounce, and now we've clearly broken below that level. Down to the next potential support level, which formed from those highs right there. We got a little bit of a bounce at the end of the week, but not a good week for the dollar. MACD in bear mode, energy below mid-range. Let's look at the daily. And so this is where it very, very clear that the dollar broke down last week. Broke down in the short term on, I think that was Monday, and then headed lower. And of course, this was the big break lower on Wednesday, where it broke below these prior support level and then continued lower. And so that was on Thursday. Not only did we break below support, we continued that downward move on Thursday. And then on Friday, we got a little bit of a bounce or holding action at that low level. MACD in bear mode on a sell signal, energy very low. So dollar's not looking good. If we look at the other currencies, the euro, the yen, and the pound, they're all on rallies, which, you know, that's to be expected. When the dollar's weak, those other currencies are going to look strong. So that's all I've got in this video. I think the next video that I'll do on the precious metals, I'm going to focus on what we know and what we can assume at this point about this upcoming BRICS summit, and are we really going to get an announcement of this gold-backed currency? So anyway, good talking to you folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you soon.